What's up, everybody? Welcome to S.W.A.T MMA, smoking weed and talking mixed martial arts. My name is Jarrod. I'm here with my buddy Paul.
What up?
We're coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. This is episode number 66. We are going to be talking about all things UFC this week, since it's the only fight promotion currently putting on fights. We had UFC Vegas number 3 from the Apex Center last week. We've got number 4 coming up next week. We're going to touch on those. We're going to talk a little bit about Henry Cejudo, some UFC Tyson Fury action in the video game, and whatever else we stumble across smoking weed and talking MMA. Before we get into all that, let's get started with our weed of the week.
Smoke weed every day.
All right, Paul, today we got one type of flower and one concentrate. We got some Fire OG today, which is OG Kush crossed with San Fernando Valley OG Kush. And this is one of the strongest in the Kush family. Indica dominant hybrid.
I fuck with San Fernando Valley. Fucking good. That shit is so fire,
Absolutely, dude.
Like, I've had some, like, super stony, like, buds from that were San Fernando Valley.
SFV OG Kush is a fire strain. All the Kush family is. I mean,
well, yeah, Kush is.
Dude, that ocean grown,
yeah.
You can't fuck with it.
Yeah.
Fucking West Coast. West
Yeah.
Coast putting on the good shit.
And,
This-
like, OG is, like, dope, but it's kind of hard to find, like, some legit OG out there. There's so many, like, there's so many people out there that say they got OG Kush now. It's like,
yeah, that's like,
it's like same thing as, like, Blue Dream, like, same shit. Cookies, shit like that. It's like,
all the street dealers, that's what they say. But you can tell this is legit. It looks just like it's supposed to. Fire OG got its name from its bright red
Oh,
and
yeah,
orange
this shit is
hairs.
fucking flame.
Make it look like it's on fire. And this bud is like, it's like pure orangish red.
yeah.
We also got some live resin diamonds, Skittles, which is grapefruit crossed with grape ape, crossed with a mystery strain. And then these are THCA diamonds, so that's extracted down into a lab to like a little crystally type rock that's like between 95 to 98% THC. It's the strongest form of dabs you can get. So, suffice to say, we're a little bit high right now.
A little bit.
What do you think of the weed, man? I'm about to hit this.
I fuck with it heavy.
If you're watching this on video, we got this giant lighter today. Check
Yeah,
that shit out, right?
Somebody named Paul forgot his lighter today, so we're fucking with the barbecue lighter.
Right, and I don't keep one at the studio now because I've been using my vaporizer
Yeah, that packs.
so much I haven't even needed a lighter.
It just so happened right before the show that Pax decided to die on us.
It did. I forgot to charge it up. I thought I did. I guess that's what happens when you smoke a lot of diamonds.
I guess so.
Which those go great in the packs, by the way. You don't have to dab them. That's another reason I like that packs. Yeah. Packs, if you're listening, we'd like to sponsor. Let's talk sponsorships here. For real. But no, let's go ahead and while we're smoking this bowl here, if you're listening, fire up whatever good weed you got cooking. And let's talk about the fights here. Kind of an up and down card, man. Like the co-main event, which was a featherweight bout with our friend Josh Emmett. Yeah, that was a great fight.
That was like one of the greatest fights of the year, for sure.
Then the fight right after the main event was, I mean, it was kind of a dud, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we both were checking our phones out.
Yeah.
By what, round 2?
Well, it's just everything he said he was going to do, so it's like.
Yeah, it's hard to fault. I mean, Curtis Blades beats Alexander Volkov in a heavyweight bout to kind of determine the number 2 contender, basically.
Yeah.
The way the heavyweight division is kind of stacked down right now. But, I mean, he had 25 takedown attempts, which set a record for the heavyweights, and I believe he completed 17 of them, which was another record for heavyweight. It was a Khabib-like performance, but there wasn't much ground and pound. It was a lot of taking down.
Control.
I
I mean, he got some shots in there. But it was weird, too, because, like, he was having success on the feet, but then he was just like, fuck this, we're going to the ground.
Yeah, he didn't want to stand and trade, which
I
you're
can't
right.
blame him, though. Volkov is a savage.
He is. Volkov staged a couple, little mini comebacks in the fight where it looked like he might be able to turn the tide, but ultimately it was just too much. So Curtis Blades looks at what? Possibly the winner of Francis versus the winner of Cormier-Stipe 3. So he's kind of second in line, but the way the UFC
He's in
shakes
queue,
down,
yeah.
he might have to take another fight. or risk sitting out for an
Yeah.
extended period of time.
We're talking possibly a year and a half, 2 years if he sits out, dude. Because think about it this way: if DC and Stipe have another classic fight, then what's gonna end up happening is Stipe is probably gonna have to sit out for 5 to 6 months if he wins. If he loses, he's probably gonna retire. If Daniel wins or loses, he's retiring. So,
And there's, I think, a question of a possible injury from that fight. And I don't mean this. We joke a lot about Cormier on the show.
yeah.
But I mean, let's get real here. Like, the eye pokes were so bad in the first 2 fights, he had to have surgery. And is there any reason to believe he doesn't face multiple eye pokes coming into this 3rd fight too?
Yeah.
If he gets that again,
Well, it's all
he
a
gets his
range
eyes
thing,
injured,
too.
He might be done.
It's all a range thing too, because Daniel always fights with his hand open on the outside, kind of like the same thing happened when he fought Jones. Like when he fights these longer fighters, he like tries to extend his range out with his hands open, and
Yeah.
you're naturally gonna poke someone in the eye.
It's the same thing Jones does a lot of,
Yeah.
but Jones is so long naturally anyway that just puts his fingers
Yeah,
in
but you gotta
everybody's eye.
think-
But Cormier's kind of stubby.
Yeah,
so.
he's stubby, so like you're coming down at him. So when you're coming down at him, naturally his fucking little hands are gonna go in your eyes. You know?
Right. So
It's funny because he's smaller, so like his dimensions are so much different at heavyweight. So like I feel like it happens a lot more for him at heavyweight because you didn't really see it a lot when he was at light heavyweight. Like when he fought Gustafsson and a lot of other people, there was never really a lot of complaints about eye pokes. But as soon as he's moved up to heavyweight, the guys are a little bit bigger, a little taller, a little longer, is where we've seen him kind of use that.
right. So the way this circles back to Curtis Blades is that there's a possibility of an extended period
Yeah.
of inactivity if he chooses to wait out
Well,
for
and
the
let's
title
just
shot
think
here,
about
because
not
then there's an Ngannou waiting in the wings
Yeah.
for whenever people are healthy from. I mean, DC's going to retire, so it's either going to be Stipe or
Or vacant title.
yeah.
But what do you do then, though? What do you make Francis versus Curtis 3? That's just.
I think you'd have to go back to Stipe again, honestly. And
well,
if
no,
it
I'm
was a
saying
close decision,
I'm saying
but-
both retire.
Oh, they both retire? Man, I don't even know. It could be a mess.
Because
So it's dangerous for Blades to wait,
yeah,
is what it ultimately boils down to.
honestly.
But then it's the heavyweight division, and some might say it's dangerous for him to take a fight because he could just get KO'd by somebody because it's heavyweights.
In my opinion, okay, so Derrick Lewis is fighting pretty soon here.
Yeah, he's fighting.
I want to say in like August, around the same time, CBA and DC. Let's
John
say
Baker.
let's say Derrick Lewis picks up another W. That'd be a 3 in a row, right? It'd be either 2 or
For
3 in a
Blades?
row for Derrick Lewis. So in my personal opinion, I could see the UFC making Francis Ngannou versus Derrick Lewis 2 before they make Francis Ngannou versus Curtis Blades 3.
Okay, I can roll with that.
I'm just saying, I'm just in a situation where both guys retire and when they make a title shot, I just don't see them giving it to Blades, whether he wins another one or not.
Yeah.
Just because both fights with him and Ngannou were so one-sided. One is extremely recent. I mean, what, they fought in 2018?
Yeah, there's not
near the
much
end
call
of it.
for a third fight
Like,
between
come
those
on.
two.
It's just,
Absolutely.
it's rough.
That was real rough. And Dana at the moment is not a fan of Curtis Blades. He's kind of talking a little
he
bit of
shit
shit
talking.
publicly. I never really get it when Dana does that as the promoter, but whatever. At this point, that's just him. Like, why would you talk shit on people you're promoting yourself? But whatever. Whatevs, man. It's not new, so there's not much to say about it.
That's the thing, though. He's like not really a promoter at the same time.
Yeah, not like a boxing promoter. But anyways, Blades gets the win. Who knows what he's going to do. Boring ass fight.
Yeah.
Didn't help him with the fans there. He don't give a fuck. He's already saying, yeah, deal with it.
Yeah.
Which I admire. Stick by it, dude. Don't apologize.
What are you
Tell
gonna
everybody to
apologize
just
about
fuck
though? That's
off.
how he fights. Like,
Right.
You know what you're getting with Curtis Blades. Like, if you put him against a kickboxer, he's gonna take him down and grind him out. It's just he said it before the fight he was gonna do that. What the fuck are you surprised about?
No, I agree. Well, how about the co-main event, which that was a possible fight of the year contender.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an excellent
Ridiculous
fight.
fight.
Oh, we saw Emmett Smith versus
Emmett Smith.
Emmett Smith. That's funny. That'd be awesome, right? Emmett Smith, big ass at featherweight.
Oh shit.
Josh Emmett. Wow, that's hilarious. Versus who did he fight?
Shane Burgos.
Shane Burgos from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Emmett Smith. That's good. That was a great fight, though.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Little mini Emmett Smith versus Shane
Want to
Burgos.
restart the fight? No.
No, I'll roll with it. That flub brought to you by weed. Josh Emmett, power puncher.
Yeah, and literally at every single second of that fight was using every bit of it.
The chin on Shane.
Well, let's
I
not
mean,
forget also Josh tore his
unbelievable.
ACL in the first 15 seconds of the fight.
Has that been confirmed by doctors yet?
Nah, he's supposed to get an MRI today,
That
but
sucks.
he said that he had no lateral. He had fucking. He could move back and forth, but he couldn't move side to side, and you could see it in the fight. Whenever he was moving side to side, other way around. I'm sorry. He could move back and forth, but he couldn't move side to side.
Damn. Well, it didn't stop him that night.
Yeah, he
Talking about
fucking-
guts, man.
Well, here's the thing. He's like multiple times through the first 2 rounds. You didn't really see it much in the third, but the first 2 rounds he was hobbled for sure. You could see it. Like there was just times when you saw his knee just completely give out. And what's crazy is there's an argument that he won every round of that fight, and there's an argument
I thought he won. I thought he won all 3 rounds for sure.
like the second round is probably the only round you could really say Shane probably could have won. Because there was some big shots thrown by him. And the thing is like, let's just get this out of the way. Like, the fucking announce team has got to get off this fucking thing of pushing these young guys. Like, I get it.
Seriously,
These
talk
young,
about bias.
like, come on. Like,
My
these young guys,
God.
like, don't get me wrong. I understand you're selling a story. You're selling a character. You're doing that. You're doing this. But it's like, okay, there's also another guy in the ring fight or in the octagon fighting with him, and he's winning the fight.
Yeah,
So
they wouldn't shut up.
Shane
about
can
it.
be as young and have as great as a chin as you want, but he's still getting blasted the whole fight. At one point, I think it was in the third round, Josh was up fucking three times the strikes of Shane, knocked him down once, and then when it restarted off the low blow, fucking John Anik goes, "This is a real close round. I wonder how the judges are going to score it."
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me? He's outstriking him 3-1, knocked him down, and then knocked him down again, and in the end was scored to 10-8 round. But you're sitting there in the middle, it's the middle of the round going, well, this is a close fight. Or a close round. I wonder how the judges are going to score it.
You know what makes it extra
Nuts.
fucked up to me is that literally everybody in the arena can hear him. The fighters
yeah.
can hear him say that. The judges can hear him say that. Fucking.
Well, you see,
That's why Josh was so mad afterwards.
he's
I
like,
mean,
yeah,
I
you
swear,
guys are talking
he's
shit.
talking about you guys in the media all with your bias talking shit. I don't think he was really referring much to online media. I mean,
Well,
dude,
them
these-
too, because
them
if you
too,
go,
because they've been doubting him too. But he clearly could hear the commentators. Like,
Well-
do they forget that in this
Yeah.
situation with the COVID?
true,
Like, we could.
they could hear you. Yeah,
They could hear you, bro.
yeah.
Like,
You're being extremely biased. Like the only one who wasn't was like Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping calls it down the straight down the line. And he goes, "Yeah, well, Shane's taking a lot to the chin though, like the whole time." So it's just
so
weird
do
to
you
me.
think the UFC's telling Anik to promote these guys?
Of course,
what I think,
100%.
too.
That's I'm not blaming John Anik. I'm blaming John Anik and the UFC, like, because it's like I get it. You're trying to sell a story, but why not sell the story on the other side? Josh
They never
Emmett's a
do.
guy who's faced tons of different injuries throughout his UFC career, has come back. He's 35 and he's like still in the mix of like his prime, basically, of his UFC career. And yet you're talking about a guy who's up and coming, who's 13-1, and I get that. But Josh has only lost really one fight in the UFC. Like, he lost another one by decision, but like that wasn't really that was so early in his UFC career, it doesn't really hold weight. The only loss that really holds any weight is the one to Jeremy Stevens. And that was a fight he was winning.
Right.
So it's like you look at the top 5 of this division, because now you got to look at, he was 8, so and Frankie's out of the division, so that'll probably make him 5 by tomorrow. So you look at all the guys in front of him. You got guys like Korean Zombie, Yaya Rodriguez, Zabit. All those guys don't really have fights right now, and I heard they're trying to make Zabit and Yair. So I think perfect fight for him to take would be someone in the top 5. You know.
Yeah.
Or even someone like Calvin Kattar, who's like on his level, but like they're like ranked the same. You know, I feel like what he said on that night too was perfect too. Like, I'm done fighting people below me.
Yes.
I'm tired of
He
giving.
doesn't need to do that anymore.
I'm like it's stupid.
It's not a gatekeeper.
It's like, what the fuck is the point? You're just literally stacking all the chips against you, and if you win, you really don't really win anything.
Right.
Like, you're supposed to beat someone who's 11th when you're 7th. You know.
100%. So let's hope he gets a higher ranked opponent here.
Fucking 145 is a Shark Tank, man.
It is. And Holloway's about to get his rematch. That's been signed,
Yeah.
as far as I know, right? So we're going to have him versus Volkanovski.
I think a perfect fight for Josh would be someone like Korean Zombie, because Zombie's
good.
coming off that eye injury. Josh might need some time with his knee, so it's like both guys need a little time before they can fight. So, and then I don't know what the fuck's going on with Brian Ortega. I don't know if he's fighting, he's hurt, I don't know what.
Anything.
But someone of between those two, it seems like would make the most sense for him next.
Yeah.
And then Shane on the other side, I don't think he lost a bit of. I think he might move up to the rankings in a loss. Like in all reality, I think he might move up to like 9th from 11th after that fight, because like that was such a good fight. That just proved that like he belongs at the top of this division, you know.
Definitely.
So that's fucking both guys. Fight of the year,
It's a candidate.
maybe.
It was a great fight.
It's gonna be
Fight
tough.
of the night for
Yeah,
sure.
100%.
For sure.
It's just tough with that fucking, like Dana was saying, with Wally Zhang and fucking and Joanna being in the same year. That's gonna be a tough one to dethrone for fight of the year.
Yeah.
But that one was this
was
fucking close. If that was 5 rounds and continued to go that way, I think it maybe would have been fight of the year. Honestly, I wished it was 5 rounds over the main event. The main event was done in 3. Curtis was freaking.
Curtis had a snoozing by 4.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
So, yeah.
should have switched it up. And it's weird because they always do that. They always, no matter how good the fight is, they if there's like close like ranking fighters that are fighting on the same card, they always put the heaviest weight class at the top of the bill. And I just feel like this was one of those situations where you could have probably put the lighter guys up there and honestly got way more notoriety for Emmett and Burgos and for the division, because those guys are the future of the division at this point. It's crazy.
Absolutely. It's an exciting division right now, even with. I thought the rematch might get kind of boring, but I'm for it now. I shifted. Like after the fight, I wasn't really wanting Holloway to get a rematch.
I don't really
but
think
now
it's a
I'm
good
like,
idea.
Cool. They're rolling with it. The rest of the division's fierce. It
Sure,
is what
but-
it is. I'm down with it.
Sure, but if Holloway loses, he loses 3 of his last 4.
Yeah, he needs to consider some time off and a move up to lightweight.
No, I don't even
would
think that. I just think he needed to get back on track. I think he should have fought Korean Zombie, maybe Brian again, someone that he knows that he could really put on a good performance against, and then catapult him into the title shot with some confidence. Because I think that's what he's missing. Max is not missing anything technically; it's in his head. Because like he just looks like in his last, like the Poirier fight and this last one, like it just seems like he never got started. And I feel like that's a problem. You know what I mean? Because like they just kept interrupting his rhythm, and if Max Holloway gets his rhythm going and gets his combos shooting at you, like he's unbeatable at 145 pounds if he's on. But I just
Right.
feel like in both those fights he never got started. So I don't know if that's a camp thing, a mental thing, or something he needs to address as far as like warming up. But I think that's literally the reason he shouldn't have took the title fight the second time. I think he should have built his confidence a little bit more and then headed into a title shot. That's just my opinion.
No, I don't disagree. But, it's a done deal now. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. That shit's going to be fucking fire.
No, the rest of the card is all right. Roxanne Modafferi lost, which I was rooting for her, but oh well.
Yeah, she got stomped out.
Rest of the card, there was a little bit of controversy. What was it? In a short
prelims.
notice replacement fight on the prelims.
It's like 6 days notice or something.
It was a guy. How do you say his name? Is it Max Roshoff?
I don't know.
Roshoff, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
He goes out. He fights. He quits on the stool in the second round. I'll say my opinion. You can say your opinion. Then we'll move on. I think we disagree on it, but I mean, I know what happens in boxing. I just think it's a different thing, and it's a lot of boxers still frown upon that, but it happens. I'm boxing's a little bit different for me though, because it's a much longer sport. You have a lot more rounds. I wasn't a fan of how he did it. I'm not going to be. It's hard for me to root for the guy and be like, yeah, you know, that's his right. I mean, I guess it is your right to quit in the middle of a fight. I just like he did good the first round. He was getting beat up in the second round, but it wasn't like he was all jacked up and couldn't move or something. I think there's other ways to fucking go out. I don't agree with the derision that his coach is getting, Drysdale, though. I think right now we've got a lot of members of the MMA media and a lot of people on Twitter and social media coming down on him saying it was jacked up and he should face sanctions and this. I think that's nonsense because none of us know the relationship between coach and fighter. Especially an MMA journalist doesn't, especially if you've never been in a situation where you think you're just going to quit and you need somebody there that tells you no, you can get over this. This is how people achieve. This is how you reach high levels of sports, is when you think you should quit, you keep pushing on. Now, that might not have been what's going on in that fight and in that cage that night, but my point is, we don't know. Maybe Max does this every day in practice. When he gets pushed, he's like, I can't do it, and Drysdale goes, you get out there, you're a champion, you can do it. Maybe that's their dynamic. Maybe it's not, but we don't know. And for all these people to just pass judgment on a relationship that they literally know squat about, I think is kind of bullshit.
I mean, I agree with you on that, but I disagree with you on the quitting part. Like, I don't really think it's that big a deal. I just think like he's not on the level of the UFC. I think it's unfortunate for him to have to go in there and get beat the fuck up and figure that out on 6 days' notice instead of with the full camp. But at the same time, I think it was just a levels thing. You know what I mean? Like, that kid just wasn't necessarily ready. And I don't think it's a big deal that he quit, whatever. Like, if you think I've seen other guys do it, but not necessarily in that way, you know? Like, we've seen other people with injuries do it, but not like just like actually like tap out on the stool.
Right. I mean, we're talking about later on in the night, we had a guy keep fighting with a torn ACL. We've got a guy who quits on the stool because he's essentially tired and losing. It is what it is. I think it's just a personal decision how you feel about it. For me, whatever, dude, I don't really think you're much of a fight. I'll just be honest. I don't know if you I would question how much of an actual fighter you are. That's just me. I used to box. Like, in my gym, you didn't do that shit. I mean, It's one thing you go out, you lose. You go out, you try your hardest, you lose. And if that means you wind up getting TKO'd because you're tired or whatever, you go out there and you push through. Now, maybe that's right or wrong for some people, but for me, it was good.
I feel you.
And maybe it's not good for this kid. I don't know, but I'm not really a fan.
It's tough love.
You get it. I don't. It's just a personal thing. People listen to whatever you think. I don't think there is a this is right or this is wrong in this scenario.
Yeah, no. It's all just depends on how you, like you were saying, the dynamic with your coach. And
Yeah,
shit
we
like
both agree. Robert Drysdale. I don't really think he should be getting.
It's
criticism
fucked up,
here,
but
we don't know.
Yeah, like
you just don't know what's going on. You have no idea what motivates that situation for those two individuals. And I've been to Drysdale's gym here in Vegas. I've met him multiple times. I believe you've met him too at the.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude. I've seen him interact with fighters. I can't imagine he's like willingly putting a fighter in danger. Like that's a hell of a thing to say about a coach.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go there with that being the sole evidence of it. So
Yeah, I feel you.
word. Let's talk about Fight Night Vegas 4. That's all these things are called now. How long are we going to have this? There's going to be Fight Night Vegas, and then there's going to be the Yaz Island fights.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it's not Fight Island.
Well, supposedly there's an octagon on the beach, so it's Fight Island, motherfucker.
Well, they're in an arena.
Are they though?
Yeah, they're in. They said the arena they're in.
Is it?
It's like
but
an
there's an octagon
18,000
on the beach.
foot arena, not they're fighting in. They ain't fighting in it. There's an octagon on the beach, like there's one in the front of the MGM Grand lobby.
And there's an octagon on the beach. I liked how you just threw that in there too. He's like, yeah, it's gonna be in Yaz Island in Abu Dhabi. Yep, that's where it is. And there's gonna be an octagon on the beach, and then he drops the mic and leaves. Like it was like the coolest thing he ever said in his life.
Oh, but yeah, we got. We're switching to those, which will be 1, 2, 3, and 4, I presume. And
Yeah.
then
Well, I
coming
kind of
back
like the
here.
production of these Fight Night Apex fight nights. Like they're pretty cool, I think.
I'm getting tired of them, honestly. I really like a crowd. I was really
Well,
thinking
yeah,
at this
obviously,
last
but
event, I was like, I'm over this.
What
no
I like
crowd
about
shit,
it though is
man.
I like how like in these high level fights, like the Emmett and Burgos one, is like every shot that was like significant, you heard.
I do like that.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
like you find out real quick the difference between a jab and a significant strike, dude. Like real fucking quick.
No, absolutely. That is one benefit that I agree with.
Yeah, and I do like also the coaching aspect. Is like, I think and we have seen in other fights like the Anthony Smith fight where like his coaching kind of failed him, but I think the coaching dynamic in an empty arena or an empty like Apex or whatever you want to call it it's different because like
It's definitely different.
it's like
can hear
especially like
everything.
in the, especially in the Emmett fight too, when he got kicked in the nuts, you heard his coach go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" right away. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like there's that level of like where you're in a bad position where you can coach a guy through, like. No offense to Roosevelt Roberts, but if Roosevelt Roberts had like top notch coaches, they could have just talked him completely through that whole transition that he went through. No,
You know, if you don't know who we're talking about, folks, that's the guy who fought Jim Miller at 155 pounds and lost by armbar.
yeah. And they were in a big scramble, and I don't know, maybe his coaches were talking him through it. I don't know. I was kind of baked when I was watching. So
You're smoking marijuana?
yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now.
I don't know what. But yeah, so I kind of like it. I like how there's no interference from the crowd almost.
There's no interference, but on the reverse of that, there's no energy either. But it is what it is. I'm thankful we do have some fights right now, and they seem to be progressing along
feel you.
safe enough, you know? Fight Night Vegas 4, the headliner.
Huge
I
fight.
really like this fight. This is at 145?
155.
Okay.
55.
So we're 55. Then it's going to be Dustin Poirier, former interim champ, versus Dan Hooker, right?
Yeah.
Ooh,
The Hangman.
Dan the Hangman Hooker's been on a tear.
Yeah.
That's going
coming off, I wanna say, 4 wins.
Squab right there.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a fucking scrap and a half. Like, I'm curious to see if Dustin wants to just fucking trade. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if he wants to trade with this dude, because I don't know. Like,
What's Hooker's jiu-jitsu like? I know he's got hands. I don't know much about his
don't know.
jiu-jitsu game.
That's
though,
what's
do you?
scary about it. Because if he wins this fight, he's right in that conversation, and I don't know where his jiu-jitsu game's at.
I mean,
You better find out.
Poirier's is on point.
It is, yeah. But I'm saying, if he were to win this fight, moving forward, we would need to know.
Yeah, he's going to get tested.
Like,
I think that's probably Dustin's best strategy would be to
That's what I was thinking.
implement a bit more of a takedown and ground game if possible. You know, not 100%. That's not how he
Yeah.
fights, but he should definitely mix in
trade
some takedowns
and
some
then maybe
jiu-jitsu
win.
here.
Win a couple rounds with your takedowns. If
yeah.
it's close.
I don't think you want to keep this solely on the feet.
No.
It's risky. I mean, Poirier's got great hands. He's got great boxing, but
You know what? It just came to me. Paul Felder took him down 3 times. Paul
Hooker?
Felder took him down pretty easily, I want to say. Yeah.
I think you're correct.
Yeah.
I thought Felder won that fight.
I did
personally.
too.
I was
But
shocked at
here's
the
the
outcome,
thing
but it is what it is.
I think Poirier is on kind of. This will be a level test here for Dan, because I feel like Poirier is kind of in the upper echelon, but not quite
Poirier's
there.
on the upper echelon.
You know. So
He's a level above Paul Felder.
Oh, yeah,
no
for sure.
disrespect to Felder,
For sure.
but yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's top tier.
well, they got
shit.
fucking Dustin Poirier score ahead of Conor McGregor in the rankings, so I could, which just makes no sense to me, but I guess.
Okay. Well, those rankings are jacked up, anyways.
How is he 3 and Conor's 4? Conor's beat him head to head, and
And it
Dustin's
wasn't
coming off a
close to
loss and
competitive.
Conor's coming off a win. Like, what are we talking about here?
I have no idea. But that's going to be a scrap. I got to say, I like.
I'm going Poirier.
I like Poirier in this fight too.
I just feel like he's on a different level that Dan isn't quite ready for.
Yeah, I think so too.
But Dan's tough.
No
So
doubt.
we've seen that.
It'll be a good
We've
fight,
seen that like
and
in the
he's not-
Barboza fight and shit.
He'll be a live dog. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be curious what the betting
Facts.
line is.
I would
if
say
he's,
it's
if he's a good underdog, I might bet him up.
I would.
Just because if he's like, I don't know, depends on the odds. I haven't checked him out. But next fight I like a lot too. We got welterweight. I actually
See,
really
I think
like
this is
fight.
another level test as well.
We got Mickey Gaul versus Mike Perry. Who do you think is the level test for?
Mickey Gaul. Because ever since he beat CM Punk, he hasn't really done shit.
He hasn't.
He's had some good fights. He's had some bad ones. He's had some solid wins, but some really bad losses. And I hate to tell him, but I'm pretty fucking sure. Pretty sure Mike Perry is better than Diego Sanchez.
Oh, come now. Yes, sir.
Like, so
Clearly.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
think he might want to watch his P's and Q's, and fucking
Dude, the only reason I'm even questioning this fight a little bit is because Mike Perry seems a
got
little
into a
bit
street
off the
fight
fucking
yesterday.
rails here. Like, he's firing coaches and cornermen and training with his... I don't know if he's training with his girlfriend.
No, he's
but
training out of a gym. He's just not putting any of the coaches
He's just
in
not
his
putting
corner.
him in the corner. It's just going to be his girl in the corner.
So he
And
doesn't
He's
need
posting
anybody to tell
Instagram
him shit.
videos, but he's all busted up. It looks like he either got in a street fight or, I don't know, crashed his motorcycle or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, or he's fighting, or he's just punching shit with his bare fist.
But he's got a split on his forehead that was like 2-3 inches long.
Yeah, but he
busted
said that
up
he's
knuckles.
clear.
Like, I don't mean bruised. Like, they were bleeding.
Yeah, they're all bleeding. It was like cuts.
Which in life that's not a big deal, but when you're gearing up for an MMA fight, that's
Well, here's
an
the thing:
issue.
the hands won't be that bad because the hands will be wrapped, and it's all on his knuckles. So they probably will bleed during the fight, but who cares? Because it'll be wrapped up. The face is where we're talking about the issues. But in all reality, I don't see this making out of the first round. I think Mike Perry just sleeps Mickey Gall. I hate to say it.
No, I don't hate to say it. I like Mike Perry. Mickey
I like
Gall
him.
had a lot of potential, but I think
Yeah.
he kind of got Sage North cutted, meaning he
Think
was
so?
too much too soon.
With who though? Because he never really fought anybody that was huge.
Yeah, but he was like 3-0 when he beat
CM Punk,
CM fucking Punk.
and he
fucking-
beat Mike Jackson.
Like,
and
and he beat Mike. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not no disrespect. Yeah, disrespect to CM Punk. You're not an MMA fighter, bro.
Yeah.
And Mike Jackson, you're a journalist, dog. Like,
yeah, it is what it is. And,
Shit.
fucking. Then he's been up and down. I mean, he's
yeah,
got some solid wins. Like,
he has potential, but
yeah.
he needs to hone it elsewhere. Mike Perry's
Well, and he
gonna
trains with a great fucking gym too. He trains
fucking
with freaking.
sleep Mickey Gall.
He trains with. God damn it! Now his name's slipped my mind. Fucking kickboxer. He fights in Bellator. Super dope. He's smokes hella weed.
Joe
Schilling. Yep.
Joe Schilling. Yeah.
He trains with Joe Schilling, so it's like he has a good camp. He's got good striking base, but like he just doesn't. He hasn't improved enough. I feel like as much as he should at least.
Yeah, well, this wasn't a good fight to take.
I don't think so.
Mike Perry needs to come out and get a fucking win here too.
Well, at the same time, yeah, Mike Perry also is fucking. He's lost 3 in a row, 4 in a row, something like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter though, because every single one of them has been fight of the night except Jarrod Gordon.
Yeah, that's the thing Mike Perry has going for him. He's got like that.
Not
that-
Jarrod Gordon. But
He's got that like that Vanderlei Silva shit. Like you can lose fights, but you go out there and you're still a warrior and knock
Yeah.
fools out, and you're gonna keep your job with Dana White in the UFC.
Oh, for sure.
He's entertaining. He's fun to watch.
Racel Ochovich is not even 500.
Right. So I'm a fan of Mike Perry's, although he does get himself in some hot water on the internet from time to time.
Well, but he
Whatever.
drives the viewers, and that's all the UFC
Dude, I like
gives a
his
fuck
fights,
about.
man.
If you drive the numbers, the UFC will give you the fucking fights.
How can you not like his fights? He goes out and tries to
and
just
tries to fuck
murder
them up.
people.
It's like a street fight.
Yeah.
He's like the Kimbo Slice of this day,
So-
where like he has some base, but you just if you get him mad enough, you just will forget it all and try to knock your fucking head off.
So yeah, Mickey Gall's probably going to get slept.
Yep. All right, let's just move down the card. Then we got
All right.
Ian Hainish versus Brandon Allen. Hainish coming off that loss to Derek Brunson, so he's probably looking to get back on track here. I mean, he's still floating, and I think I want to say he's like 14th or 15th in the division. Where like he's
He's
not.
still in at the bottom of the rankings.
Yeah, but he's still in there. He's he's got 2 losses his whole career.
Right.
So
Oh,
it's
he's a good
can't
fighter.
really count him out.
But
It's kind of one of those guys who came in late to the game, though. Who went to prison for a little bit of time, shit like that.
yep.
But
That shit happens. A lot of people get that. I like to see people come back and have a success out of that. I don't know much about Brendan Allen here, but what about you?
I've seen him fight before. He's pretty good.
Who
He's
you
another
picking?
one of the. Oh, who am I taking?
Yeah.
I'm taking Heinz.
Yeah.
I think his wrestling will help him get through it. He's got good ground and pound too.
Yeah, he's pretty tough.
Yeah.
I figure he gets the rebound here.
Tough mofo.
Mainly because, honestly, I didn't look up anything about Brendan Allen. I can't remember anything about him. And I'm not just going to talk nonsense about the guy. I have no idea. The next fight, though, interests me a bit.
We know about these guys.
This fight I find really interesting because it's at heavyweight.
Yeah.
You've got Gian Villante
Taking on Maurice Green.
fucking Maurice Green is a big man.
Bro, he's huge.
He's humongous.
This is his second fight, I want to say, in 3 months, yeah?
and
2
Villante's
months?
coming up from a weight class below.
Well, this is his second fight at heavyweight because he fought Ben Rothwell, didn't he?
Vellante?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, which was another giant of a...
Yeah, he's just taking all the giants out.
Like, I mean, Maurice Green is not as skilled a fighter as
I don't know.
Vellante, in my opinion.
I disagree.
But
I fucking disagree.
I'm not saying he sucks.
No,
I'm just saying I
I
think Vellante's got an edge in experience.
I think Vellante does suck, though. Vellante is like, he's
think
so
all that
up and
training
down.
with Chris Weidman rubs off on the motherfucker?
No, it doesn't. Have you ever seen him fight?
Yeah, plenty of times.
Bro, he just throws bombs. That's all he does. I don't know, bro. I don't really believe in Gian Vellante. I've seen Maurice Green fight, though, and he has got some fucking tools in the shed, bro.
He's got heavy hands, too, but all heavyweights do.
Yeah, but he's got tools, though. He showed in his last fight, he had an arsenal of things that he
I watched
hit
him on The Ultimate Fighter. I've seen his fights through since then.
Yeah.
Hell, we saw him in person at the Tough finale.
Yeah.
Damn, he's really big.
I mean, he just kind of has a little bit of struggle with those fucking grapplers, but I don't think Vellante is going to grapple with him.
No, he's going to go in there and try and box him up.
Yep.
Probably going to get KO'd. He's just... Size matters after a certain point. I don't like
Facts.
Vellante at heavyweight, so there it is.
Wow.
I like the guy. I know.
You piece of shit.
I'm an insightful mofo.
All right, well, let's move on down there. We got Aspen Ladd taking on Sarah McMahon. This is a good fight. This is both
Women's, this is bantamweight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got, I believe it's number 3 versus number 6 here. So this is good implications towards the title shot. I mean,
has Ladd fought since her loss to Durandamain?
yeah.
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 Okay.
She's coming off a win, I want to say.
Okay.
But
Sarah McMahon's a tough out.
she's been around too.
That's a real tough
She's
out.
seen them all.
Yeah.
And she is not backed down from anyone. She's fought everybody. And she's got a pretty solid record to show for it too. So I mean,
I got to go with the experience here. I like Sarah.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think McMahon has a good chance of fucking catching her with some seasoned vet shit.
There's the thing about Aspen Ladd I don't understand. To me,
she's kind of mentally weak.
To me, when I see her on TV, I haven't ever seen her in person. She seems on the small side yet for 135. Yet she consistently has problems making weight.
Time making weight.
Like
took
I
a
would
couple fights
think
at
she
45.
would be better suited just from TV to be at 25. But then how can you say that when she can't make 35 on several times now? Hasn't it been more than once?
I want to say it's been 2 or 3 times.
That's tough, man. That's fucking tough. So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like she's mentally weak. Like that just shows the mental toughness isn't there because when you cut weight, there's a certain level of like you're in your mind when you cut weight. Everything in your mind's just going, dude, you don't gotta do this shit. Just don't do it. It'll be all right. Everything will be okay. It's cool. Just don't cut the weight. And then you show up and you're ashamed because you didn't cut the weight. And if you don't cut the weight, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, it's the fight before the fight.
Yeah,
if you lose that
exactly.
fight, what are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And that basically rounds out the Vegas 4 card. There's other fights, but nothing much of consequence. I mean, unfortunately,
Violent Bob Ross is fighting on the prelims, but he's not a big fan.
I try to like that guy, and I just can't. He rubs me the wrong way personally. Something about him I don't like. So
he's kind of a strange guy.
And I didn't like that cut to 45. He's not still doing that nonsense, is he?
I believe so. I believe he's at 45.
Good God, bro.
He's fighting Kama Worthy from Dana White Contender Series. He could have some problems there.
Yeah,
that dude's a savage.
That could be tough.
I like it.
Well, I hope the Savage wins. Bob Ross is knocked back up to 55. For fuck's sake, bro. Stop.
All right.
What is he, like 6'11"?
Something like 6'11".
I mean,
6'11".
cutting the
5'11".
145. No, he's like 6'3".
Is he really?
He's huge.
Damn, that's ridiculous.
That's why he looks like a bobblehead when he's out there because his head is so big and he's cut so much
Ross.
weight and he's so fucking thin.
Yeah.
He looks weird.
Yeah, he does.
Like 45 is not his fucking weight class, man.
I agree, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Good luck to you, guy.
Well,
That's
I
a
think
tough
that
cut,
about
man.
wraps
Talk
up.
about a tough cut. You got to have some serious discipline for him to make that cut. I'll give him
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
you're tough as fuck to make it to 45. When
I
you're-
don't think he is doing 45 though. It might
I
be
got to check my
55.
phone. We got to see how tall this guy is. Maybe I'm just high and I'm exaggerating.
76 feet
because I do
tall.
that. I mean, I do think I believe he's 6'3", 6'2".
I think he's 6'1".
What is it? Louis Pena?
Yeah, just go to the UFC page and go to that fight because it's on next week's card.
There he is. I got him right here. Yeah, he's fighting Worthy's 15-6. Worthy's got a lot more experience.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's 6'3".
Jesus.
Yeah, bro, you're 6'3" and you're cutting down to the 100.
What weight does that fight at though?
This is a lightweight.
Okay,
And
155.
his last fight was at lightweight. Thank God. Okay, all right, I'll take back some of that criticism. 'cause it
I'll
should
take
be
back some of that criticism.
Well, dude, if you're 6'3" and you're cutting a 45,
Fuck, man.
you're
Even 55 is still crazy.
I just feel that's mentally weak. Not the cut. The cut is mentally tough, but to think that you got to fight guys that small
To win.
to
yeah.
win, I mean, dude,
Well,
like, come on, bro.
Here's the thing.
Come on.
Here's the thing. Everyone has been there, done that in the wrestling game, so that's kind of like what the idea is wrestling. You want to get to like the smallest you can, but still be the biggest, so you have like the power. You won't have the speed, but you have like the power.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I get it.
I think it just might come from his like background,
It's
possibly.
weight cutting all of it, but
Yeah.
that to me is
That's pretty much weight cutting in a nutshell if you really think about it. But fuck, man, if you can make it, it is what it is, bro. You can make it and you perform because there's when you cut that kind of weight, there's sometimes to your detriment.
good grief. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
Your kidneys
easier
get fucked
knocked
up,
out,
your
too.
liver gets fucked up, your brain's fucking dehydrated. You're fucked. You know.
The dehydrated brain leads to easier KOs.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's just
That's why I just don't get it. But whatever. Let's switch out to a couple of these supposedly retired fighters
yeah,
because they've been making a lot of noise lately. Namely, in the way that it relates to this last weekend and the fights upcoming, is we've got Henry Cejudo, who's tweeting out about 45ers being his division, talking about the Josh Emmett fight, talking about wanting to fight Volkanovski.
I could see it happening.
Dana brushed that shit off.
Well, did you hear what Volkanovski said though?
No.
Volkanovski said that at first he didn't like the idea because he thought he was gonna still be the 135-pound champ and he would hold up a division. But now that he's retired and relinquished both his belts, he sees no reason why he shouldn't give Henry the shot at 145 pounds because it's in theory, and I agree with this, you're not holding anything up if you really think about it. At 145 pounds, after he fights Max, who's really that deserving of a title shot?
Yeah, a lot of this stuff.
Like, there's a lot of
Depends on-
prospects, but there's not really a lot of contenders at 45 right now.
Yeah, a lot of these type of fights depend on kind of divisional logistics.
Yeah.
And 45, it wouldn't be a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Unlike 35, where
It would have held up 35 pounds.
throwing Aldo
yeah.
in this mix has kind of held up true contenders and et cetera. But that's another conversation.
Yeah.
At 45, I got to say, we've talked about Cejudo a lot on this. I used to like Cejudo when he was coming up, and then when he started the whole shtick, he really just turned me off. Like, I was not a fan. Since he's retired, and you told me to
Denounced.
watch that Joe Rogan podcast, and I would encourage anyone that hasn't listened
Yeah.
to Cejudo on Rogan's podcast and might not be a fan of his to listen to it because it got me to be basically liking Cejudo again.
Yeah. Well, he just denounced the whole King of Cringe thing and completely explained it and basically just laid it out there and was like, hey, guys, it's not something I wanted to do. It was something where I was told after I won the belt and beat DJ, literally 3 days after, official for the UFC came up to me and pitched me an idea to do a shtick. And then later on in that night, I was also told by Dana White that he was folding 125 no matter what, but good job beating DJ. Like, that changes a man's, like, psyche. You got to think, like, that's his livelihood. Of course, at 135 is where he ended up in the moving and all, doing all that shit. But at the same time, you got to think, you're basically stripping away my accomplishment. when you're in that situation. You know, like
Sure.
he's a 125-pound champion, then you're telling him you're not entertaining enough for me to really keep you as champion. You're going to be stripped of your belt for no reason, basically. Because now we're looking at 125 pounds. Fucking people are missing weight, and it's been vacant for a whole nother fight after he'd already vacated it. So it's like, it's a strange situation you put someone in where you ask them to basically make a character in professional fighting. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah, he basically got Colby Covingtoned.
Yeah.
Because the same thing happened to
100%.
Colby. Colby was told he was going to
Around the same amount of time.
if he didn't do something, and
Yeah.
then thus he became the heel and the whole shtick that he blew into.
Yeah.
Which he's openly come out and said now too. And I didn't like Colby's either, but I got what he was doing. I didn't really get what Henry was doing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. Now I understand that it's bullshit on the UFC's part.
Yeah.
And Henry, I mean, shit, he was smoking weed.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Just talk about
did
doing
DMT
the
with
toe.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, doing the toes with Mike Tyson and shit.
I respect anybody that does DMT. And if you were lucky enough to do DMT with Mike Tyson, a personal hero of mine,
Yeah.
whatever, dude.
Whatever.
I mean,
You're like,
okay, bro. I mean,
You're in.
what the fuck can you say?
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, they made me do it. I think it was stupid, too. He said the whole fight
Started
and
making
Shevchenko
fun
shit
of it.
was really stupid, and he hated it.
Yeah.
Like some PR dude was pitched that, too.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Makes sense.
And that also explains, like,
Dude,
one of
that's
my
what I was trying to
criticisms-
tell you.
I know, but like it was so bad. Like those
was
pictures with
rough,
the
yeah.
belts in bed and shit. And
Yeah.
I'm like, when you stop to think how a picture like that has to get taken, that means you had like another person there. Like I get it now, though.
The pillows, kicking the pillows.
I mean, whatever. So he gets a in the personality likeness.
Yeah.
I respect what he was saying.
Well, and here's the thing too: is like he was put into a shit situation because then he was given a shtick that didn't work. Like it didn't help his pay-per-view numbers at all. So
No,
like
it
it was
he
just
didn't get
still
the
the
rub,
same. It was
yeah.
still the same shit it was before when he was fighting, like
Unfortunately.
300K or whatever. And so they demonized him to his fans, and then went back and told him, "All right, well now we're still not going to pay you, but thanks for doing that."
Right.
You know what I mean? In the end, that's really. And then he beat a guy who was fucking on steroids, and then he's still like the UFC is kind of like through this pandemic, Dana White has really done some shit PR for himself. To be honest, like some real shit PR when you're 4 best fighters on your roster, 2 double champs, and fucking a guy who is probably the biggest like explosion into mainstream media in the sport in the last 5 years. Like, what are you doing? And then your greatest of
hear
all
you.
time. Like, all these guys are retiring because of your mishandling of them. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I have no idea. We often talk about this.
Like, what the fuck is going on over there? When you got Conor McGregor retiring, Henry Cejudo retired, John Jones retired, Jorge Masvidal's retired.
Amanda Nunes talking about retiring.
Amanda Nunes is talking about retiring. So what the fuck is going on over there? Amanda makes
Masvidal
more sense
raising noise
because
about pay.
Amanda's the only one that like is like, all right, she's walking away because she's accomplished things. But John, Jorge, Conor, and Henry, it's all about the number next to the check. Conor, it's about getting him a fucking fight. That's even more dumb.
It's
like,
ridiculous.
It's craziness. It's craziness that one guy who was the highest selling pay-per-view fighter of all time in your sport, you can't get him a fight? So he's retiring? Because you won't give him a fight.
What is there to say? It's retarded.
Like, what are we talking about here?
It's
And then the other guy who you give a fake belt to, but you hype it up like it's a real belt and pay him like it's a real belt, then you turn around and offer him less money when he fights for the real belt.
Yeah, did you hear how much less? They offered him half.
Yeah,
half the
what the
money.
fuck are we talking
George
about
Masvidal got paid X amount to fight Nate Diaz
I wanna say it was
for
like
the fake
2 mil.
BMF belt, which is fun. We're all supporters of. Not talking shit about it, but it
Yeah.
is what it is.
It was like $2 million or something like that he got paid.
And then they're offering him half to fight
So
for
$1
the
million
real belt.
to fight Kamaru Usman, who's a much tougher.
And he balks at that, and there's people that don't support him. Like, are you kidding me?
nuts. Well, and here's the thing too: they're not going to give him pay-per-view points like he's the champion either. I guarantee you that was not a part of it. When in reality, this should be paid out like it's a champion versus champion fight.
UFC shoots themselves in the foot a lot.
Oh, for
but
sure.
They keep going. They're unstoppable.
Well,
Dana
they're
White's
unstoppable because they have a fucking 600 fighter roster where any guy on any given day, if you call him up, doesn't give a fuck about any. It's just a class. It's like almost like a class problem within the sport because like the lower class fighters who are on the undercards and the early prelims are gonna always take that shot if they get called tomorrow. But the guys at the top who are the ones leading the way for those guys underneath who are trying to get these guys to unionize and all that shit are the ones that are going to pay for it because they're the ones in the end that are going to sit out, and the ones at the bottom are always going to take those last second fights.
Right, and it doesn't hurt the UFC near as bad as it used to with this ESPN deal because they get a guaranteed $500,000 by equivalent payment for each pay-per-view that they put on from
based
ESPN.
off subscribers.
And then from Disney, and for their main deal, as long as they put on, 43 events, they get $750 million.
Yeah,
like,
it's nuts.
They can just churn out events without these guys and still have guaranteed fucking money.
Yeah.
So not having a union be a part of that deal really hurt the fighters, especially the upper tier ones, because they don't really have the leverage they used to have. Is evident the fact they won't even give Conor a fight.
Here's my thing. This sport, well, no, this company transcended the sport to a mainstream sport, but the fighters have never transcended themselves into mainstream athletes.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
They haven't
way to put
they haven't took a step back. Like, okay, let's just use basketball for an example. Basketball has 4 players that are at the head of that are like in on all the talks with the owners, the GMs, and all the big wigs of the league at all times. It's Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James are always a part of anything when it comes to like the top of the players union, and like Chris Paul's the president of the players union. So he's in there for all these talks with the commissioner, all that shit. So why would it be so bad for one fighter like, I don't know, like Stephen Thompson would be a perfect example because no one dislikes Stephen Thompson, and he speaks well, and he all that good shit. So why would it be so bad for someone like him to be in on these conversations when Dana goes to talk with Disney and ESPN and all this shit, and is able to go with his lawyers and their lawyers and all that shit and look at the numbers and be like, okay, so, and then create a CBA and all that shit that would give the fighters more of rules that are set, and then also money that is guaranteed is going to always be the biggest issue when it comes to MMA at this point in the UFC. There's no rule set. The rules get changed every day of the week. There's no set amount of money that you're ever gonna make. They're gonna do you like George Masvidal. They'll give you $100 million next week and 25 the week after.
And then they'll do things like take your likeness and profit off of it, just like the video games. Like there's a lot of noise right now about the new EA game coming out. Like, these guys don't get paid for any of that. A lot of people think it's like
they'll
other
get paid,
sports,
but they'll get paid like $100 here.
Yeah,
Thanks for being in the game.
Yeah, it's like they don't. It's not in any contract. They don't get anything for it. Like not like other athletes do when their likeness is used to sell a product.
Well, yeah. So like, it's just so different. Like I was saying, it's stupid because then also that just is a whole nother conversation with a union also, because like a perfect example is in the NFL, their likeness rights were up last year with EA Sports, and there was going to be this big influx of games that were going to be shot at towards the players union to see if they could different companies and shit were trying to bid to take that likeness because that's such a big thing. So if with this game like this coming out in a couple months for EA for the UFC, these guys could be making a huge number, or not even a huge number, a substantial number off of just using your name and likeness. It's fucking ridiculous.
It is. It's messed up.
Like they get a little piece of nothing, and it's ridiculous because none of this shit would be happening. You don't see this in other sports. If a player goes on strike, more than likely they get paid if they're worth what their play is. You know what I'm saying?
You know something? There's talk about Tyson Fury being in this game. I'll bet you 2 things, Paul. Number one is, I'll bet you Tyson Fury's getting paid to be in the game. And I'll bet you number two, the only stipulation is he has to sign a non-disclosure agreement to not fucking talk about it.
I don't agree with that, actually, though.
There's
because,
no way that man
hold
would
on,
let
hold on,
his
hold on.
likeness be used
This is
in a
why.
game like
This
that.
is why I don't think so, though. Because Tyson Fury is also signed by ESPN, and he is an ESPN employee, just like the UFC is. So what if the UFC is using some backdoor deal to get his likeness and name for that game, when in reality he's probably not? He's getting paid just as much as these guys are because his deal's with ESPN.
I guess we'll see. If he comes out and talks about being in the game and not getting paid, then we'll know. But if he doesn't, I would tend to think
That was always the
he did and
biggest
just has an
problem
NDA.
with. That was always the biggest problem with Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather would never sell his likeness to Fight
Right,
Night
right.
in EA Sports, and so
That
there was
fucking
always these games with all the other guys except Floyd. Stupid. The UFC should.
Well, who do you think should be on the cover of this game while we're talking about
Shit.
it?
I don't know.
That's always the big question this time of year, right?
In reality, I feel
We've
like
had what? Ronda, Connor,
Connor again,
John Jones, Connor again.
Gustafson and John.
Yeah, it was Gustafson, John, Ronda, Connor, then Connor.
Yeah, probably Connor again. That's probably what's gonna happen. Maybe Khabib.
I think Francis Ngannou's got a shot.
Francis got a shot.
I mean, he's
got a shot.
in the wings.
If they weren't having problems with Jorge, I bet you the shot of him kneeing at Ben Askren in the face would be on the cover of the fucking game.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't sign off on that.
Nope.
With his noise
I
about
know.
being paid, I couldn't possibly see him being like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Take my shit for free and sell video games at 50-something bucks a pop.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing: is every UFC game so far has always had like a secret character like that. Like the one with Ronda and Connor on the cover had Mike Tyson and Joe Rogan and shit like that. And then this newest one has Bruce Lee and like Gracie and like a bunch of different legends like Rampage, shit like that. And this new one will probably have Tyson Fury, maybe Mike Tyson, someone like that. Some of these like boxing names that have just like made themselves a part of the conversation. You know what I mean? So yeah,
When's it coming out?
we'll find out.
They're announcing soon.
Yeah, you'll find out at Fight Island.
Oh, Fight Island, Yaz Island, Abu Dhabi. A lot of good fights coming up on there. A lot of championship fights that we'll get into in future weeks. But there have been a couple announced fights here as we're wrapping up the show. We got Frankie Edgar finally making his
135 debut.
135 against who? Pedro Munoz.
Pedro Munoz,
That's
who
a
was
tough
supposed to
fight.
be moving up to 45.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
So
That's interesting.
that's a fucking barn burner.
Yeah,
'Cause
man.
Frankie's not going to be able to go in there and just take him down either because Pedro's
No.
good off his back.
And at some point, Frankie's going to lose power with all these weight drops. I mean, it's just
think so?
inevitable. From 55 down to 35, it's not like he's
but we're
cutting
talking
weight. He's losing muscle.
7 years ago, though.
Yeah, but he's losing muscle here. It's not maintaining size.
He's always
and
been a
cutting.
small guy, though.
Not as small as he is now. He's like Frankie's little brother.
He's always been that
This
small.
is like
he was always the
Junior's little
smallest 155-pounder for the longest.
Yeah. He
For
walked
the
around
longest.
at like 157.
Yeah.
And he was like jogging.
So
in the morning.
135 is not
he took
really
his
that
morning
big a deal.
shit and he could make the weigh in.
Yeah. Well, he said 45. He wasn't really cutting any weight either. So 35, he's probably just cutting a bit of weight. Not
pretty
much,
little.
but just a little bit.
Oh no, that's a tough fight. We'll see. We'll see if Frankie's going to have a long life here at 35 or not with this fight.
Well, either way, Frankie's not got a ton of time left.
By long, I mean what a championship run is what we're all wondering. Can he get a championship run in? Can he?
No,
Can't get
Aldo's
Munoz.
135-pounder now. Cut to 35 for no fucking reason. Aldo's already there.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Aldo's been like
That's
Frankie's like kryptonite ever since he dropped the 55 belt.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
It's true.
Had a heavyweight fight with the
Dude,
announced too.
Fuck yeah.
Another 205er moving up, but this one's a little bit different than the aforementioned Gian Vellante because of body size and mass.
Yeah.
And this is Alexander Gustafsson
Moving to heavyweight.
to fight.
Fabricio Werdum. That's a fucking crazy fight.
That's a
Werdum
crazy
looked
fight.
like shit in his last fight, though, so I don't know.
Oh, we're Doom's off the juice now.
Well, facts. But Gustafsson has been over in Sweden eating the horse meat ever since.
I wonder what he's going to look like. I haven't seen pictures
That's
of
what
him.
I'm wondering too. Is like I wonder if he's gonna go in there like just like
He's always been pretty lanky.
he's always been lanky, but he's never really you've never seen any like crazy muscle definition on him.
Nuh-uh.
So I don't know if he's gonna come in as like fucking huge. He might just be a little thicker. What do you think he comes in weighing?
He's got to be 220 neighborhood, 220, 225.
See, I think he goes in like 230, 235 on
Yeah.
purpose.
I think that'd be better for him. It depends on how he's adding weight here. If he's just
Yeah.
if he's just packing on pounds, eating,
True.
that's not the good strategy. If he's adding some muscle mass,
Yeah.
then we'll see.
He's always been a tough. He's always been like super big on being in the gym and shit like that. So
Yeah.
there's no worry about him cardio wise or
But
anything
we're
like
doing.
that.
I mean,
I think Werdum might get fucked up.
I wouldn't mind it.
Stopped.
Werdum's been getting on my nerves lately, frankly. So if he gets his ass beat, I'm kind of in that camp of I hope that happens. But I
Who
don't
did he
know.
just lose to?
No, we'll see.
Who did he lose? He just lost
Someone
to.
of not of consequence. I can't even remember.
It was either Ivanov or the other dude, the fucking Russian guy.
I
Alexei
don't
Oleg.
remember.
I want to think he lost to Oleg.
I thought he beat him. I don't really care.
Yeah,
I don't honestly. Ever since Werdum aligned himself with that dictator dude over there in Dagestan, I'm just like,
We're doomed.
yeah,
What?
yeah. He went over there. He's like went over there in support of that dude, that Rum.
Wow, really? That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's not very good
went over
PR.
there, like did some shit in his gym.
That's weird. I didn't know
Yeah.
about that.
You know, just for personal circumstances, I'm not a fan. So
Yeah, I feel it.
I'm like, yeah, it's hard for me to really.
Gustafsson, though, I wonder what he looks like. Not only physically, but like how he wears the shots and throws them, because
Yeah, Werdum's big.
carrying that extra weight too.
Yeah, he's not going to be.
But Gustafsson's long, so I think if he keeps him on the outside, I think he could finish him.
I'm very interested in that fight.
Yeah, me too.
So
Well, I think that wraps up the show for today.
I think it does. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you're new to the show, you can catch us on WBUZ 95, radio.net, the Orange Radio app, Thursday nights, 6 p.m. here on the West Coast, 9 p.m. Eastern. The radio station is going to be back up on the air this month. While it's currently off the air due to the coronavirus, you can get the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, video on Google, pretty much anywhere else you get your podcast from. All that info is where?
SWATMA.com.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Peace.
Later.